I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Adjourned debate on the second reading of the Appropriation 2016-17 Estimates Bill and the amendment proposed to it.
Tim McIndoe, and I understand this is to be a split call. I will ring the bell at 5 minutes. 4 minutes. Tim
Mr. Speaker, back home in the tropical paradise of Hamilton, my constituents are full of praise for the outstanding stewardship of our economy over the last 8 years by the Honourable Bill English and for his excellent 8th budget. And sir, I've had the privilege of being a member of this House for every one of those 8 budgets. In fact, I've sat behind him as he has delivered 4 of them. And I have to say that each time he has hit the spot superbly. Sir, back in late 2008, we came into office after this country had already plunged into recession. Sir, that was in no small part because of the reckless explosion in public spending that we inherited from the previous Labor government. No question of that, sir. They boasted that they had spent a lot, they had squandered the good times, and they'd left an incoming national government facing Treasury predictions of at least a decade of deficits and crown debt of eye-watering proportions. Sir, that was a horrendous record. And the wonderful thing, if you're in the National Party, is to note that they have learnt nothing in the 8 years since. Sir, through it all, this national-led government has made the tough calls. We have turned things around dramatically. And sir, we've stood shoulder to shoulder with the people of New Zealand and in particular with the people of Canterbury as they've gone through the dreadful ordeals that they suffered in that region. And so all of those things have had a devastating impact on Crown accounts, and in every respect, Bill English and this government have stood up to the plate and delivered what is expected by New Zealanders. And that, sir, is why this government has achieved the staggering feat of retaining its same support in the polls that we had on the day we came into office 8 years ago. And, sir, I go further and say that I will go to my grave proud of the record of this government, proud of the actions that this government has taken to get us through those tough times, and proud to defend that record in any public forum across the country. And, sir, our lacklustre opponents opposite continue to demonstrate how totally out of touch they are with public sentiment on the reality of the position. Because after nearly 8 years in opposition, they still haven't grasped the fact that irresponsible spending sprees are not what the public are asking for. Because hard-working New Zealanders have to pay for them, not governments. Governments simply take the money from the pockets of those hard-working New Zealanders. And until the opposition learn that simple fact of life, they're destined to stay there in ever-diminishing numbers. So, over the last week, we have watched the wonderful civil union emerge between the Green Party and the Labor Party. Well, that was on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we watched civil warfare break out, led by the Cosgrove Nash O'Connor faction as they took aim at the rest of the Labor Party and said, we don't want to go there, and we know damn well the public of New Zealand don't want to go there either. So, it has been a sorry spectacle, and it shows just how desperate the second largest party of this parliament is, that they find themselves in the position where they know they haven't got any credible option for forming a government. And so they're scrambling around desperately, even to the point where they're having to say, well, you decide what we'll do on this one, we'll decide on this one, and let's go to the public and see whether they think that's a credible option. Well, sir, I can tell them right now, the public doesn't like it, and they won't like it anymore when we go to the polls next year. Sir, the Minister has made it very clear that this is a government focused on social investment. Theirs is a side of the House that says, just throw more money. All that you need to do to be a successful government is throw more and more money at things. On this side of the House, we believe in the social investment strategy. That's why we're seeing more people in jobs. That's why we're seeing more elective surgery. That's why we're seeing higher rates of achievement in NCEA than ever before. That's why we're seeing crime down to record levels, over 40% for youth crime. The best results in more than a generation. That, sir, is why this government continues to be in touch with the public New Zealand to understand what they are requiring, and that's why when we go to the polls next year, we will continue to campaign proudly on our record, and I look forward to hearing whatever the opposition think they're going to come up with, because after 8 years, they've learnt nothing more than they knew on the day they left office.
Order. Before I call the next member, there's a habit developing, particularly on the right-hand side, of people actually thumping the desk. It's a very annoying noise. I'm also the landlord and concerned by the damage then being done to the desk, and I've got to then make a budget bid to a mean Minister of Finance to get the repairs undertaken. Applaud enthusiastically by all means, but we're not going to have the thumping of the furniture. The Honourable Pesatara Sam Lotteringa.